Here we
Welcome
go.
back. Welcome back. Season 2, Pod Deep on Sports. It's the return. We got the three Migos, Jay, Notorious RD, and your boy Hughes. Let's just kick this off with the latest news on sports. The Colorado versus the TCU and Dion going to Colorado. What's you guys thought so far? Just game one.
I'll go ahead, but I was kind of indifferent about it when it first
Mm-hmm.
happened, but as we got closer and you start hearing all the hate from some of these salty ass white coaches, that's when it made that's when I kind of got behind them. Like, you know what, let me root for this dude. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was really interesting, and it's like, why is that? What are the factors behind them being so salty? Is it because Dion and his personality? Is it because he black? What's I'm interested to hear you guys take on it as to why you think he gets the criticism that he gets. But just like, overall, yeah, I was really excited. I forgot about the game. I got tied up doing something else,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't tune in until the second half, and they were down 35-31 at that point, but I watched it from that point on, and yeah, I gotta say I was into it, man.
Yeah, it was. I caught it on YouTube. I actually was out celebrating my mother's birthday, so I couldn't watch it live and stuff like that. And with it being here in Fort Worth, if I can go back in time, I would have planned that out a little bit better and got me some tickets to really, really been there supporting and stuff like that. I was really surprised they pulled their game out like they did. You know what I'm saying? Coming with their record of one win, he really boosted their Colorado team and I would say their school with their first victory, considering TCU played in a bowl, you know what I'm saying? So he need to tighten up on defense. I would say that. He need to tighten up on defense. That's probably every team though. But overall they look very well. I thought he really rejuvenated their team. He did what they said he couldn't do. He brought them dogs in. He got their squad to play for him. They look very good offensively. And to answer your question, why do you think? Why do we think like he's get the hate? I think he's just one of them individuals to stir the pot. Even when he came and talked to the players and he was letting them know off the rip, it's gonna be some changes. And a lot of them transferred out. But listen, if you got a program that's with 1 and 2, 1 and 12, you're gonna need to do some changes. You're gonna have to mix it up a little bit. And at the end of the day, even though it's just one game, you know what I'm saying? He was right. He shook that shit up. He brought in what he needed to bring in, and they've already proven themselves. But the season's not over with. The season's not over with. The road, they got their bullseye on their back. You know what I'm saying? The Sun kicked off start off a good season with throwing over 510 yards. You know what I'm saying? Passing. So they just got to keep their momentum going and stuff. What's your thoughts on it, Jay?
It was a good game. I watched most of it. Uh, Good back and forth game. Um, that's all I have to say about the game. We saw the highlights and saw the game. The offense was good. You're right. The defense is bad. I think they probably going to lose the next game. They play Nebraska next, right?
Yeah, they play Nebraska next.
They probably
Yeah, Nebraska's no good though.
no good. I thought Nebraska used to be good.
Yeah, they used to be 20 years ago, but they're Colorado. Colorado gonna be favored in that game.
Hmm. That's okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, because they
That's
they
Nebraska
because they
lost.
just came into, yeah. So Colorado's ranked now. I forgot where. I don't know if they're number 25 or what, but they're ranked now.
Oh, that's
And
that's good off one
Nebraska,
game.
hmm yeah.
That's good.
I'm sorry, Jay. I mean, cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'm trying to find Colorado's record last year.
The
I
one and
think I'm
12.
sorry.
1-11.
Not Colorado. I'm sorry. My fault. Nebraska. Nebraska.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Nebraska they haven't been good for a long time.
I'm thinking about 1995 Nebraska then.
Yep. Yep.
Do my own. Okay.
So
Yeah, they might
so
win.
Colorado has a good chance of being 2-0.
So what do you think? Go ahead.
So I was just gonna say the only thing, and I guess this is just be being petty or nitpicking or whatever, but the only thing I would have liked to see different, I would have liked to have seen less celebration. I would have liked to have seen less "I told you so's." So if you and this is just me thinking, if you really felt like you were going to go in and win that game, then afterwards it's like, we did what we supposed to do. So we're not gonna be turning cartwheels and jumping all around, beating our chest. We came out, we got a victory. This is what we came to do. On the next week. So that's I wish I would have saw more of that, because and Deion, he engaged with the report, with the media more. With the "I told you so's" and "do you believes" and shit. So to me, now you got to keep that same energy every game after that, especially when you lose. They're gonna be coming for you. So I mean, but he seems to have the personality to where he's comfortable with that. But if it was me, I just would have, hey, we came here to get a victory. That's what we did. We did what we supposed to do. No, no big deal.
But you need that attitude. You gotta understand, man. They come from a losing program, and they got a victory on the road, and they did it. They're coming from behind.
That's not true. They didn't come from a losing program.
Colorado was 1-11,
and none of those players are on this team.
It does not matter. It's what you represent.
It does matter. If I'm Shedeur Sanders and I'm Travis Hunter, what happened last year has nothing to do with me. Because what did they do last year?
They won the championship. State. Yeah, that's a Jackson State. That's
exactly. But it doesn't matter what somebody else did.
That's a Jackson State. The way I look at it, that's a Jackson State on what they call a small level HBCU. You in the big leagues now, playing at Colorado State. So what you did last year don't carry over to this year in a new program.
But if you've never lost a game and you go to a team that always loses, so do you automatically assume that culture? No, you're a winner. So you bring your own culture. In my mind,
right, you saying they replaced the whole team.
If I've never lost the game and I join a bunch of losers, I'm gonna start being a loser now. Even if I had nothing to do with them losing.
Well, we saw happening.
Like, to me, I don't. Huh?
We saw it in basketball when Jordan went from the Bulls, when he retired and came back to the Wizards. He didn't change their culture around. They was losing when he joined, and they motherfucking ass was won a little bit and they lost.
So now, now you doing apples and oranges now, because you're talking about Jordan at 40 with a bad team like that. That's not, and that's still not the same. It's still not the same equivalent, because you still had the bad players from the previous year on the team. So he came in and got rid of all the bad players, and he's bringing his own culture in.
Yeah, they playing against guys.
I don't think they have the university. They might have a losing mentality, but those players, they don't have that losing mentality, because they weren't that. They had nothing to do with them.
Right, they going up against guys that are bigger than them and come from bigger programs in TCU. I don't see TCU going to the HBCU schools and losing. So you think Jackson State could have beat TCU? Is what you're saying? Or that's not your okay.
That's not. I didn't say that. All I said was just the team that was 1-11 last year, they're not there anymore. This is a whole new team, players from other places. So that culture of losing that's been there last year and all the previous years, that's no longer there. You got in a whole new staff, you got in whole new players. So it ain't about that losing mentality. The only thing that I think that they were dealing with was the fact that no one thought that they could come together so fast and play at a high level. But I don't think it was. I don't think they had to get over that losing mentality because the losing mentality had nothing to do with them. So I just like I said, I hope he's able to keep this up going forward because he poking that bear. As far as when I say poking the bear, like sparring with the media, and it's just gonna get more intense, as the season goes on. So, but like I said earlier, he seemed to have the type of personality that can definitely handle that.
Yeah, I think he's doing a good thing by poking the bear. He don't put the pressure on the players; it comes on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On the coach. You know what I'm saying? He's allowing his players to get out there and just play. You got to understand. There was a bullseye on his son back. His son stepped up and delivered on the road. Like to me, I'm like, shit. He put up major numbers, man, and he looked good doing it.
It's a little different though in the college. I definitely agree. He's jumping out in front of it and taking those arrows, but it is different, and you don't have the same access to college players as you do like the pros. Like the pros, you're gonna interview them after every game and all that. To whereas college, you only got a small window to where you can talk to the college player, and actually it's gonna be like certain players that you can talk to. Like all of them aren't exposed to the media like that. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
All right, Colorado is ranked 22. You're right about Nebraska. I think they won 4 or 5 games last year.
So when you playing them, every team gonna come at you hard now. When you got that bullseye on your back, they're gonna come at you hard. So they record ain't gonna matter. It's all about your preparation and what you do on the field. We saw that with Duke versus Clemson. Duke is not a good football team, but they manhandled Clemson. And Clemson got a good coach, and they couldn't do nothing right. It seemed like his job's on the line now. Saying I won game, so you're gonna have to play it. So let's do some predictions for Colorado. You all think they make it to a bowl? I know it's early. You all think they make it to a bowl game? You all think they win more than 5 games this year?
I think they can. I mean, you only have to win 6 games to be bowl eligible. So them to go, they can go 6-6. You know what I'm saying? And make a bowl and make the Weed Eater Bowl or So that's doable.
I think so too. I think they got a good chance of going 2-0. I think they got a good chance of getting 6 wins and making it to a bowl, which will be good for them in Deion's first year. What you think, Jared?
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell.
Okay.
I'm looking at the teams they play this season. You both have a good point. I'm looking up their records as you talk, and they play like a lot of bad, subpar teams, in my humble opinion. So I think they have a line to 6 wins, but I think it's probably too early to tell. First game, let's see what they do against Nebraska. Then they play Colorado State next. Let me ask this. You guys don't think they can beat Oregon, do you?
They probably won't be able to beat USC. Well, I take that back because USC, their defense isn't that good. And Oregon, I can't really recall them as far as last season. They typically have a good program. Huh?
10-3 last year.
They were 10-3.
Yeah, 10-3.
Yeah, they typically have a good program. So that'll be a tough game. And then I believe they have Utah on their schedule. Utah is a very good team. So Utah, Oregon, and USC, those are their toughest 3 games of the season. I think everything else they can definitely be competitive with the other teams on their schedule.
Yeah, I think they got a potent offense. I think they got some weapons.
Yeah.
6-3. Yeah, they have a way to get to 6 games. So yeah, I can see it happen.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
it's definitely
so
going to be
it
an
mean
interesting season.
yeah, they have to win next week against Nebraska. You know, they got to take advantage of, you know, these other teams when they're down. So stack up as many wins as they can because, like I say, they do got, you know, about 3 tough games in the future.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely got to calm down, stay motivated, stay confident. That win against TCU should really like let them know that they can play with anybody, but just prepare and stuff like that. Tighten up on defense, continue to push that ball on offense, and don't do no turnovers.
Mhm.
Lessen the turnovers. Let's move over to the NFL. We got Lamar Jackson with ODBJ. We got Russell Wilson with a new coach, Sean Payton. We got Aaron Rodgers with a new team, couple of weapons in the New York Jets. Who do you all see the favorite out the AFC, favorite out the NFC this year? And the league hasn't started yet. I go first. NFC, I got the Eagles. NFC, I got the Eagles coming out the NFC. The AFC, I really think Denver is gonna make a run. I think Kansas. Well, I think their tight end, Travis Kelsey, may be hurt. So maybe it'd be Buffalo. Maybe this year is for Buffalo. Buffalo and Denver. Those are my two pick between the two. I'm a Russell Wilson fan, so I'm always ride with him. So the bias there, but that's what it is. What you got, Jay? What's your picks this year? NFL. Who you favoring? NFC and AFC. Just
Repeat.
those teams out.
Chiefs.
Okay.
And it's probably not going to happen, but maybe the Eagles again.
Okay.
Chiefs, Eagles.
Okay. What about you, Rod? Who
It's going to be the same 6 teams at the end, 6 to 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs and the Eagles have to be the favorites.
Yeah.
You mentioned Travis Kelsey. He hyperextended his knee. They say it's not a tear or anything. So that's 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, but he'll be available.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty much going to come down to what it came down to last year. San Francisco and in the Eagles in the NFC, and then Cincinnati and Kansas City in the AFC.
Hey, speaking of San Francisco, what do y'all think about what's going on in San Francisco?
And you're going to keep riding with Russell Wilson, and you're going to crash.
Oh yeah, it is what it is. This is your man. I want to see what he gonna do. I want to see what they're gonna do, but I want to know what are your thoughts about the 49ers in their quarterback situation? You think they made a good decision and sticking with Brock Purdy as the starter, letting go of Trey Lance, sending them to the Cowboys, or you think they just screwed themselves?
Well, they screwed themselves when they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if my memory serves me correct, he came from a Division II. Well, they call it FCS.
Mm-hmm.
He came from an FCS team, and he only played 1 season. Sat out the COVID season. And then they traded all that draft capital to draft him number 3. So, they reached, and it's like, if you fuck up, at what point did you cut your losses? Do you continue to try to prove to everybody that you was right by drafting the dude, or do you just be like, you know what, we fucked this one up, let's go ahead and cut our losses and move in another direction? So They didn't necessarily fuck up by trading him. The fuck up was by drafting him in the first place.
Yeah, they never got nothing out of him. I mean, he never played one full year.
He's been hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like injury prone, I guess you would say.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
last
know.
year,
It's a good.
yeah, he got hurt last year, but he got beat out before that by
Yeah.
Garoppolo.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Yeah, I think they screwed themselves. I think if Purdy get hurt, which he did last year, I think their season's over with, and it's a 80% chance he gets hurt. And I don't think they
Yeah,
have a good plan B.
but if he ain't the plan B either, what's the sense in keeping him?
Well, you had a guy that I don't know, man. It's like that was a bad pickup to me. To me, he didn't seem like he fit their system.
Who?
Lance.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's why they fucked. They didn't fuck up by trading him. They fucked up by drafting him.
It didn't seem like he fit their system.
Yeah, so you know,
you got to cut.
They try to give him every opportunity.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are getting him. I don't know what that does for them. You know, like I don't see that being no good 1-2 punch, Dak, and then Trey Lance. Like I don't get that move at all. I don't know if that's to scare Dak to say, you know, you better get your shit together because we got the future here. I don't know what that's about, you know.
Basically, you know, they got Dak for a couple more years, so they figure they can, you know, in the meantime they can get this cat and, you know, feel him out and see if he could be the potential replacement. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's poker bluffing at its finest to me, because I don't see my man hitting a field and really making an impact. You know what I'm saying? In the blue and white uniform at all. You know, that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Let me think.
Unless Dak gets hurt, then he'll be in.
Yeah, but see, then you gotta wonder how fast can Trey Lance pick up the system.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be. He's probably gonna be third string on that squad.
Yeah, you know, like
he gotta be third string because
you know,
he can't come in and be second string and not even know the playbook. So whoever, go ahead.
I don't know why they would get rid of Cooper Rush. Like you keep him, not to say that he was going to lead you to the championship game, but he knows the system. He's a good insurance policy player. Good, yeah. Neither here nor there.
So that's our take on the NFL. So what else we got? You know, we've been on hiatus for a month and a half, 2 months. So
let's go ahead and get into that boxing.
That's what I'm about to say. Quit tap dancing around and go ahead and get into it. So since we've been gone, the fight of the year, as in, not necessarily the fight itself, but just getting two guys in the ring that's been dancing around for years. That finally happened back on July 29th. And, as we all know, Bud Crawford prevailed. So I'm gonna let Jared take his victory lap, because he is the biggest Bud Crawford supporter. So take it away, Jay. What did you think about the fight?
As you guys know, I love the underdog. I cannot help rooting for the underdog. Spence was the favorite. He was the A side. It was all reported that Bud was afraid of fighting Spence. Turned out not to be true. It was the other way around. So I could not be more happy. When he won that fight, it really feels like I won the fight. That's how much I'm invested into it. I end up going to the fight, enjoy the fight. Me and my wife went to the fight. Um, I guess I'll throw this back out. Rodney took that as a chance to go to the bathroom. I'll throw it out to you.
Okay.
Was this fight the fight of your generation? Meaning, was this the best fight to come along since you've been watching? Since you've been an adult. I know we lived through like the Sugar Ray era and all this stuff, but since you've been an adult, is this the biggest fight?
No.
Like Rodney said, it didn't turn out to be the most competitive fight, but is this the biggest fight, that you've seen since you've been an adult?
Nah, the biggest fight was Pacquiao and Mayweather. Everybody wanted to see them fight. It took them a long time. Now, what Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford did do, they probably had the best camaraderie with each other in a big fight. When it was time to do the press conference and stuff like that, it wasn't a negative press conference at all. They didn't belittle each other or anything like that. And I give them an A+ for that. That's something new that I never saw. Most fights, the fighters are trying to get in each other's head. They, cussing out each other and stuff like that. Now, there was a time, the final press conference before the weigh-in, where things got a little spicy with the camps. But other than that, the two fighters, Earl and Crawford, I salute them because they put on a good show. They sold that fight, and it was a good card. It was a good boxing match in the sense of it didn't live up to what everybody wanted to see, but you can't blame Crawford for any of that. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame Crawford for any of that. He showed up, he prepared, his preparation was through the roof, and he prevailed. Earl, on the other hand, he put that work in, and he put that work in too much. And he looked dehydrated, and that's not Crawford's fault, No excuses. You jump in that ring, it is what it is,
There you go.
Um,
You want to refute that, right?
So yeah. As far as this being the biggest fight, like Squeak say, Pacquiao Mayweather was bigger as far as the anticipation, but there are some other fights that's right up there that I don't know if this fight beats those. One, Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. That was a huge fight that people wanted to see.
Heavyweight though.
I mean, you say he didn't classify what weight class.
Yeah.
So Tyson versus Lewis, that was huge. That Mayweather De La Hoya was huge. That had the record before Pacquiao and Pacquiao Mayweather, if I'm not mistaken. That had the record for most pay-per-views. So this was something that we wanted to see for a while, but I think there's still other fights out there that were just as big,
Shit, Conor McGregor was bigger than this.
As far as Earl, yeah, I didn't look the way, I liked Earl. I always thought he was the better boxer, just a better boxer. So when I was asked which way I was leaning, I was all in Spence's corner. But I did have some kind of feeling inside of me like, damn, this don't feel good. I had a few bets out there. I had one for $150. It was for 100. And if my guy get knocked out, it was an extra 50. And 2 hours before the fight, dude called me and be like, hey man, no bet. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, that's some whole shit. But at the same time, I'm like, thank you, because I really didn't have a good feeling about this fight. So when it went down the way it did, it was like, I just didn't. It had nothing to do with how he looked. I just didn't have a good feeling about this fight because he hasn't been active enough, and he's had too much trauma in his fucking life to where you can just continue to bounce back from that shit, from the detached retina to the fucking accident. It's just like, at some point, his body gonna catch up with him. He was able to, finesse his way through a couple of fights. The Garcia fight where he was clearly the bigger fighter and he kind of bullied him. What was that fight after the accident?
That was
The
directly
Garcia
after.
fight? That was after the accident, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first fight after the accident.
So yeah. So he was able to get in there with a smaller guy and kind of look similar to himself. He did he have a hard time with Ugas?
He was anxious. He got caught a couple of times. His mouthpiece got knocked out, but his mouthpiece got knocked out with the Garcia fight.
A little unfocused.
So yeah, just all of that. All of that kind of just, I guess, was in the back of my mind. Like, this dude, he damaged goods in a way, in a sense. So, he came up against a determined fighter, and that was the best fight of Bud Crawford's career, hands down. Like he hadn't looked that good against nobody.
Because Earl made it easy.
And the guys he did look good. He was getting knocked off balance. I mean, he didn't have no coordination. It looked like he getting knocked down by jabs and shit. Like, damn, this nigga can't get his feet.
He was weak, like I know when I saw the weigh-in, they both looked drained, and I didn't think anything about it. But when they walked into the arena, Crawford looked really good. He looked like he filled out. When they put that camera on Earl, I was looking like, okay, that's my man. Like, I was doing like this, but I'm like, he looks sleepy. He did the interview with Jim Gray, and man, I'm like, okay, he kind of looks sleepy, but that's my man. He about to do it. When he got up in that ring and they took his vest off him, I was like, man, he looked the same way he did Friday. Like, I was expecting him to like fill out or something like that. And I didn't think nothing of it, so I'm still just, I'm still like, come on with it. When that bell rung and I saw how slow he was coming out there, I said, I don't know how this is going to go. Like that first round, I didn't see it. I didn't see it at all, man. And I think Crawford gave him a discount ass whooping because he literally could have did way more than what he did, because Earl didn't fight his way to 9 rounds. Crawford carried him to 9 rounds. That's the worst I ever. Like, if Earl would have looked like that fighting Danny Garcia after the accident, I think I'd have been like, yeah, he damaged goods. But he since has looked, from the accident, like put on 2 good performances. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you stay out the ring that long, fighting somebody in their prime, top notch, that's a no.
Well, that's all on him.
Yeah, it is. That's that's a no. He definitely should have learned his lesson from something like that. I look forward to the rematch, but he has to change. He has to switch things up, as a fighter. He has to add things to his repertoire, if he's going to give himself a chance to do anything with Crawford. He pressed the issue, and he paid for it. He paid for it. I know a lot of people. I don't know if the rematch would sell like the first fight. I don't know where they would run it back in Vegas or run it in Nebraska or run it in Dallas. I don't know. I don't know how you could sell that rematch the way that first fight looked. But I'm here for it.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I think boxing. I know boxing is giving us more big fights now. I think they have learned their lesson. Watching the UFC. And they have to, give the fans what they want. They can't keep always giving us like these bomb fights. So one thing I like about this fight is it could possibly end up being a trilogy. I like that they have that rematch clause, and they get to run it back, right away instead of how it usually goes. Usually one guy wins, usually the A side, and they make the B side guy wait 5-6 years before they give that fight another chance to run it back. I think it'll be the same outcome, but it's still a big fight. The rematch is still a big fight, so I like the fact that they have that built-in rematch clause. How do you guys feel about the rematch? You see it going the same way or different? How do you feel about the rematch?
So what is it going to be at 154?
154. Yep.
Okay. I guess I gotta go with Crawford until proven otherwise. I know Squeak has pushed all his chips to the middle of the table on this rematch. But yeah, I gotta go with Crawford. Until Spence shows me something different, I gotta go with Crawford. And also, I believe this is still a fight that people that the public, not only just the boxing public, but casual fans, they still will want to see this fight, especially at a higher weight. So, because you're gonna have people, maybe Squeak is one of them who are gonna think this Earl is gonna be much stronger and he's gonna look much more like himself, at 154 than he did at 147, and he didn't have to drain himself, and he ain't fought in so long. So this was going to be within 3 months. So, he won't have any of those excuses to lean on. But yeah, I think it's still a good fight, and I'm going to go with Crawford until the truth showing you something different.
I think this Earl fight to win or lose, I think he has everything downloaded. If he thought Crawford didn't hit as hard as he did, he has all the answers that he didn't have before. And he just he has to train. He has to train. You know what I'm saying? Whatever he was doing with that dietitian, he need to stop that shit. Do what you was doing beforehand. And hopefully when he hydrates, he has all his, bells and whistles to himself. And I think he has the style that gives Crawford trouble. I think he has the pressure. I think he has the power and the boxing IQ to match Crawford. I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard get his ass whooped by Roberto Duran and turn around and win the rematch. I've seen Roy Jones do it when he got disqualified in his first fight with Montel Griffin. He turned around and run the rematch. You know what I'm saying? So it could happen.
You biased now when you said Sugar Ray beat Roberto Duran in the rematch. You know how that went down. Roberto was banging hookers and drinking and sniffing coke, and Sugar Ray rushed that rematch and refused to give him the third fight.
Yeah.
That's
what Earl is doing. He rushing the rematch. He playing the same. He playing out the same bag. Shit, Crawford on the world tour.
He rushing himself. He should be taking some time.
Ass whooping is ass whooping. Ass whooping is ass whooping. So it is what it is on that.
Yeah, I think he need to. He need to get his ass in the ring. That's one of his problems. He too inactive.
Yeah, that's what it is.
When is it? December?
Yeah, it hasn't been announced yet. But in that first fight, I saw Crawford push him away with one arm. I was like, oh my God! Like it was like, man, yeah, I've never seen that before like that.
Yeah.
The guy who's supposed to be bigger and stronger getting pushed around the ring like that. I've never seen that.
Holyfield and Tyson. I mean, I know Holyfield's bigger than Mike. I know he's taller than Mike, but Mike was considered the stronger fighter. But Holyfield bullied him and pushed him around in both fights.
But Mike Tyson had just came out of jail, so he was kind of in an inactive. He's kind of in an inactive situation, like what it was. It it wasn't Mike Tyson in his prime when they fought. It
But
was Mike
but
Tyson
but
straight out of jail.
but see now we moving that goalpost again, because when he got out and was knocking motherfuckers out and won the belts, he was Iron Mike. Nobody was saying shit about jail.
Man,
But then he
shit,
get his ass whooped, and it's like, oh well, he got out of jail 3 years ago, so how can you expect him to be, same Mike Tyson? Motherfuckers was okay, but motherfuckers wasn't saying that until he lost. When he was winning, when he was knocking out Bruce Seldon and Peter McNeely and all these bums they put in front of him.
That's all he was doing, knocking out bums.
Well, that's all he did his whole career.
I mean, he had a couple of decent fights, but in between there, he had a couple of decent opponents. But yeah, you're 100% right.
He knocked out a bunch of bums, a bunch of subpar heavyweights.
He did.
And the big names that he has on his list as of beating, I don't think he would have beat. Like if him and Larry Holmes had came around the same time, I don't think he beats Larry Holmes.
Well, that's evident as Larry Holmes in his 40s took him to 7 rounds or something like that.
Yeah. So, but Larry Holmes that's a notch on Mike Tyson's belt. You can look at his record and see that he beat, the heavyweight champion for how long? Shit, he was champ for like 7-8 years.
Cool.
Holmes.
I thought Holmes was champ for damn near wasn't it longer than that? Like
he got it from Ali. No, he didn't get it from Ali. He defended it against Ali, but I think he got it at like 78 or something like that.
I thought he was the longest ran champion, heavyweight champion.
He got the belt in like 78 or 79, and he lost to Spinks in 85. So about 7 years he had that belt.
I thought it was longer than that. Maybe that's Joe Louis that had it the longest.
What was I gonna say? I happened to catch I don't know if y'all saw it, but Shane Mosley, he doing interviews.
I saw
on one of them podcasts, and he's talking, and he's just talking about Mayweather. Yeah, and he was talking about Mayweather and how if they were in the same era, Mayweather wouldn't have existed or some shit like that. Did you see it when he said that? Like, nigga, y'all wasn't the same age, obviously, but y'all motherfuckers in the same era. And
it just proved to you how delusional he is. He had one round.
He seemed like he punched drunk.
Yeah. He had one round where he hit Mayweather with 3 to 4 right hands.
Second round.
You would think that, okay, going forward, he's gonna catch Mayweather again. He never did. That in that same second round, after the last right hand landed on Mayweather, he recovered. He started walking Shane down. He had already made the adjustment and made it so Shane didn't even attempt to throw that damn combination no more. He didn't even attempt to. He couldn't outbox him. So if they would have fought at 135 when Floyd was Pretty Boy, oh man, he'd have jumped on him because he was much quicker. He was much quicker than he was as Money Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? So, and he would have had Roger Mayweather in his corner. That would have been, well, he was in his corner then, but you know what I'm saying? But he would have jumped on Shane. The difference between, a lot of people don't realize, the difference between Money Mayweather and Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy Floyd went for the knockout. Money Mayweather just was there for the entertainment. If you pressed him, maybe he'll step up and put you in your place. But he was there to go 12 rounds with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 12 rounds, get a decision, and cash his check.
Pretty Boy wasn't like that. Pretty Boy, you had to know how to fight to survive with him. He was stepping to you. He was stepping to your ass. He made you pay.
So I just wanted to. My bad. I just wanted to bring that up because I had ran across it, and it was just like, it's like you say, it's so delusional that it's funny. you know, he was talking about how he hurt him in the second round in the bell ring, so he couldn't get at him. So you had to wait to the third round. And then he talking about I couldn't get him. I was tight, so I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. Like, nigga, it was fucking 60 seconds ago. You mean tell me you can't get him with another right hand?
And that was a lie. He hurt Mayweather in the middle of the second round. It was plenty of time left for him to go for the knockout.
Well, I think he was talking about the second one when he made him crip walk, because he caught him, like you say, he caught him in mid round, and then he caught him like 20 seconds later with that second one, and that's the one that really buckled his knees.
If you go back and look at that fight, he threw that same combination in the first round and missed. His glove he missed so much that his glove actually he fell and hit the ground. It wasn't no knockdown or nothing like that, but he made the adjustment in the second round. He tried it twice in the first round. By the second round, he ended up throwing the right hand at the same time he threw the jab. That's something they don't even teach you in boxing. You know, you bring one back and then you throw the other. He threw them at the same time. That's what caught Floyd, but I give him his props, because when I was in Vegas watching that, hey, I thought he was finna knock my boy out. I ain't gonna front.
Yeah.
I thought he was finna knock my boy out. He delusional though. I like Shane. He delusional.
Yeah, like I say, the nigga sound like he got a little Tommy Hearns going on.
He spreaded the rumor that Crawford and Spence once sparred before the fight. You know what I'm saying? And that came from Shane. That Spence hurt Crawford when they were sparring. And everybody like, what? Like, we ain't never heard of them sparring before. They hadn't sparred. But that was Shane that let the cat out the bag and said that, Overall, Spence versus Crawford, it was a good promotion. Good fight. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but big salute to Terrence Crawford. He did his thing, man. You can't knock it. I'm a boxing fan. You can't knock it. I'm looking for Earl Spence, the truth, to come back and, get his lick back.
Okay. So all right, what else been popping since we last was on?
We didn't talk about the NBA finals, with Denver winning,
Okay. Yeah. Denver winning the finals. Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, they're split. And now, we've got a chance or opportunity to see both shows. Well, yeah, we got an opportunity to see both shows and kind of give our opinions on that. I can't deal with Undisputed no more. I'm not a Michael Irvin fan. I'm not a Keyshawn Johnson fan. Richard Sherman, I really haven't. Not. I guess I can say I ain't a fan of his either. So I just can't watch it. And one thing that you might not even really trip off of, but like they got Skip moderating now, and that's not good for him.
Yeah,
like they got rid of old girl, or either she left. However, I think they fucked up with that. Like Skip shouldn't be the mouthpiece. Like you still should have somebody to swing it to him so he can have his takes. But now he's having to introduce the show and all the topics and shit, and that ain't his lane. So I think that's slowing up the show from my perspective.
Yeah.
And as far as Shannon and Stephen A, not the biggest Stephen A fan. So Shannon, he's being who he is, and he's bringing his energy, but I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence with what they're doing also. So in my mind, neither one of them is really standing out as being like, okay, you can say that Undisputed is better, or Stephen A and Stephen A and Shannon are better. It's just I'm kind of on both of them at this point.
Shit, not me. So I read Stephen A. Smith book, and that kind of really bring things full circle with me on him. I have a lot of respect for him. I like him and Shannon being paired together. Uh, I like when I watch Stephen A. Smith guest appear on Club Shay Shay. I thought they had a great interview. I thought they had great chemistry. I like the fact that Shannon was nervous yesterday and kept calling Stephen A. Smith Skip. You know, he said at least about two times and stuff like that. So far, it looks like Shannon will be on First Take just Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully, they extend that because I think he brings something special to the table. You know, you can see Stephen A. Smith playing nice. He wants Shannon to win. He's trying to provide an outlet for Shannon. When I go back to Undisputed has lost what it is. It's not Undisputed. That motherfucker has lost just like my boy Earl Spence lost. You know what I'm saying? They got an O on their record, you know, and their new format, I'm not a fan of it. You know, they don't have the best analysts on the show. They just have a total of 3 former football players with Skip. You know, so maybe Skip is still cooking. Maybe he cooking. Maybe when basketball season comes, he'll push that lineup out and bring in the basketball lineup or something like that. But that chemistry didn't work for me at all. You know what I'm saying? It did not work for me. So if I'm gonna give grades for Undisputed and give a grade for First Take, I'm riding with First Take. I like what they brought. I like Shannon's energy with Molly. Molly seemed like she has a voice more so now than she had before. You know what I'm saying? I like Skip and I like not Skip, but I like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon going back and forth. You know, interesting topics. Skip's talked about the same thing. Cowboys. You know, Aaron Rodgers, and he'll sneak in Tom Brady. It's the same topics. You know.
Well, he lost one now. He can't talk about Tom Brady no more, so it's gonna be all Cowboys.
Right. Just
until
Cowboy
LeBron
related.
start playing, and then they get in on his head. But before you go, Jay, to me, it looked like they got 3 of the same people. Like they just replicated it. Like, okay, Michael Irvin, Keyshawn, and Richard Sherman. Like, how do you differentiate them? They all the same to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I thought Skip and Richard Sherman had beef.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so if you had beef, why are you coming on the show?
It's not real beef.
Shit.
I mean, I thought they was just speaking out to us.
No.
I thought it was real, Jay.
No, that shit was real.
Just
like with Jalen.
Crazy. I know.
Just like with Jalen Rose, it was like the Jalen Rose Skip Bayless thing. Like that shit wasn't staged.
Yeah,
it's just they probably mended that fence, offered him a check, and he's probably like, "Well, I'll come over here and talk with you."
So let me ask you all a question regarding that. You all have a disagreement or like a little mini beef. Can you all see yourself being put in that position? Taking a check to work with somebody that you don't really rock with like that?
It depends on how big the check is and the beef size, you know, how bad the problem is.
Yeah. You know, what happened, you know, to where we fell out, you know, did you fuck my girl or something, or, you know, you beat me out of $100. I mean, you know, it all depends.
Listen, I need money and I want money too, but that's like a clearly you get used. You know, when I look at Richard Sherman's situation, it's like you getting used. You know, they didn't invite you on when Shannon was there. They didn't need you. They weren't looking at your expertise. He used to always be treated and be on point sometimes with things he would say. You know.
So, what about your boy LeBron?
What?
When he went back to Cleveland?
Because he had beef with the owner?
Yeah. He kind of swallowed his pride and worked with someone who had called him everything under the sun, from a quitter to, you know, just he just talked all about this man because he left. And then what, 4 years later, you're back in Cleveland playing again.
Listen, he tried it, and shit didn't work out. He left twice. You know.
Well, I'm forget the second. The way he left the first time, and this man pretty much was on some slave master, you a slave type shit. How dare you leave me? And you this, you that, you're a quitter, you quit on your team, whatever. How can you 4 years later, how can you reconcile that as being LeBron James and go back and play there at Cleveland?
Mm. Yeah, only way I thought he did it was due to a goal that he didn't accomplish, that he set out to accomplish, that he didn't achieve. Let me say that. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think he swallowed his pride based on that, you know. You know,
Could you?
I don't know what was said.
In that situation, could you?
Could you take one for the team, for your city?
Your former boss.
No.
Now go ahead, Jay.
I hold things personal. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not that mature on that level, if that makes any sense. You know, like what he did, it was egregious. You know, what he did, that's a slap. It was very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could have swallowed my pride to do that. I probably would.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my take on First Take. Undisputed. Okay, First Take versus Undisputed. There's a lot of like racial hate for Skip that people blatantly, you know, say he's a culture vulture using the black man, you know, for his own betterment or whatever. So I think that drives a lot of like hate people have for Skip. I'm not really into the show that much to hate him on that level. You know, I don't know the ins and out that well, but when it all boils down, it's just guys telling their opinion about, you know, sports. So it's just not that big of a deal to me. I could watch either show and be fine. You know, I don't really take it that seriously. But if it was First Take versus Undisputed, I'm going with Cameron and Mace's show. It is what it is. I'll sit there and watch a whole episode of that before I even go look for the other two. So, you know, I could take it or leave it. And if it's the three of them versus each other, I'm picking It Is What It Is. I'll watch a whole show, you know, of that before I watch the other one.
Yeah,
so
I can
make or break me, you know, either way.
Yeah, and with Cam and Mace show, I can watch it, but to me, Cam takes it more serious, his knowledge and what he's talking about, to where Mace just be saying shit. Like he just be throwing shit out there that don't even make sense. To where that kind of turns me off. Like, okay, if it's gonna really be a sports show, then you know what the fuck you talking about. So I don't think he does that enough for me.
You know what? You got a good point. He's like the color of the show, but they are bringing on like former athletes now. You know, to give you that.
They had OJ on the show.
OJ was on the show. I thought that was just a picture. He was on the show.
From what I saw, I don't know if they posted the actual video yet, but they said that they had because they had Antonio Brown, his blue crazy ass
looking crazy.
They had him on there, so
dressed like
I think. I can go with you on that, Jay. That their show is obviously more appealing because they talking like we talk. You know, it's no. You know, well, let me not say this, or you know, because if I get canceled or some shit like that, this is open dialogue and they talk like we talk. So yeah, that definitely makes it more watchable. But like I say, Mace for me, he just, you know, he just be bullshitting and the whole pause thing, like these motherfuckers Like they'll fucking laugh for 15 minutes and ain't really talked about shit because they can't get past what the other motherfucker said, you know.
Yeah. Has Jalen Rose been on their show?
Not yet.
No, but I'm sure he will be, you know, because they you know, I give them credit. They making moves and they're damn near credible. You know, I've heard what was that? I was watching one show on FS1 to where they actually quoted something from It Is What It Is. I forgot what it was. Maybe they had somebody on the show, but you know, they were quoting what they were talking about on the show. So yeah, they definitely making it happen.
They low key trying to do a network situation. Also, they had like this some Spanish guys talking baseball. They had a show. You know, I guess maybe they were just trying it out, but you know, I can see them, you know, trying to build it up, branch out.
Yeah, see that.
All right, fellas. Okay. Can we hit one more topic and wrap up this return?
What you got?
I don't. You guys said NBA Finals. So did we cover that?
Yeah, we covered that.
Cover football. We don't talk baseball. Nobody cares about
baseball. What I mean, just a general question, and I guess it may be more. It would maybe more be more for Jay. Do you keep up with the St. Louis City soccer team?
No.
Or football team, whatever you want to call it.
Like the merch. I haven't pulled the trigger on getting merch. They have some good hats and t-shirts. But no, I see every once in a while that they, you know, are doing well.
But yeah, they got a pretty good. I mean, I don't follow it either, but you know, you be watching something and you see the scroll at the bottom of the screen and be like, oh, they won another game, you know. So
that's how I see it.
Yeah, but yeah, I just had to see if y'all was into that.
I got actually.
Any hats or t-shirts?
Huh?
You got any hats or t-shirts yet?
No. I don't. The little shops I frequent, they ain't got the St. Louis City gear just yet.
Yeah, you gotta order it. Yeah.
You know, the local liquor store that I trade at, they don't have the motherfucking St. Louis City.
Jay, I gotta ask you a question. What's your thoughts? It's a UFC / boxing question. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on Francis Ngannou boxing Tyson Fury, and how he was pushed out of the UFC? What's your thoughts on that?
He got a dirty deal, the way he was treated in the UFC. Mm-hmm. You know, UFC, they are not, in my opinion, they're not the most fight favorite organization in terms of pay and just fighters having, you know, their independence. Mm-hmm. Fighters are supposed to be independent contractors, but they seem to get treated like employees on things they can't do, like mandatory drug testing, sponsors they can't have. They have to wear uniforms. Anytime you've seen somebody wear a uniform, not anytime, but most times you see somebody wearing a uniform, they are employees. They're not independent contractors. So they can't have their own sponsors. The sponsors have to be approved, you know, by the UFC, and the pay that they get is usually regulated by UFC contracts. Mm-hmm. You don't see that in other organizations. Other organizations, they can wear what they want, have whatever sponsors they want. And the reason why I bring up sponsors is because that's a extra revenue stream. So a fighter not really making the most money fighting can go out and get sponsors and, you know, add to their pay and make more money. Like I said at the beginning, I'm always for the underdog. I'm always for the fighter. I'll always go with the fighter versus the organization or the promoter, you know, every time. So he got a raw deal. They pushed him out. They tried to say he was afraid to fight John Jones. He's not afraid to fight John Jones. But I am happy for him getting this boxing deal to fight Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia. He's probably going to make $10-20 million or more, have the biggest payday of his life. He probably has a 25% chance of winning. He'll probably lose, but he'll get that big payday. So, I'm happy for him to get that payday.
I think it should have been more. When I think about Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather, he's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. He weighed more than Floyd Mayweather. But Undaga was fighting Tyson Fury, who's 6'9". He not
Yep.
bigger than him. He don't punch harder than him. You know what I'm saying? And shit, that ain't a lot of money compared to what McGregor made to fight somebody smaller than him. That's a big risk. That loss will hurt his brand, in my opinion, because it's not like he, got the UFC to fall back on as of right now.
Well, he signed with the PFL. He's supposed to be making more money with the PFL than he did with the UFC. So he can lose. It won't really hurt him. People will just say, well, he's not a boxer, and just move on.
I wish he would have got one fight before he jumped in there with Tyson Fury, but I wish him the best though. I echo everything you were saying about the UFC. I think he did get a raw deal. I think that was their way of trying to control him and trying to make him and John Jones fight for pennies to go against each other. You know what I'm saying? I think they did. I think they did a good job of sticking to their guns and not signing to fight. Neither one of those guys have talked dirty to about one another. It don't make sense to step in the ring if you're not going to be paid, accordingly. You know what I'm saying? They got the damn money. They just don't want to pay them.
So
I don't like the
what I don't want to say that. I guess I gotta say the average. What is the average UFC fighter? What does the average one earn? And I guess what is the top? Whoever the top person is, what did they earn?
It's hard to say. They don't disclose, exact payouts. So you'll see the commissions. They'll report like what do they call it? Like the disclosed purse. So just for an example, a main event female champion, her name is Wei Zhang. She's from China. Big fan base. She's real dominant right now. She fought like 3 weeks ago. Her disclosed purse on a pay-per-view main event fight was $500,000. Now she was champion, so she gets a cut of the pay-per-view. I don't know what that is. She may get $2, $3, $4 off each pay-per-view sold. They don't disclose that part of it. But let's just take our base pay. What we know is $500,000. So if you equate that, we don't know how many pay-per-views they sold either. But if you compare her to a boxer, a pay-per-view boxer probably would be in the millions, per fight. And she's making, 500,000 up front disclosed. So I don't know if that gives you a comparison, but there's nobody in the UFC besides maybe Conor McGregor that could make boxing money. And Conor hasn't fought in going on 4 years. So nobody in the UFC is making boxer type money until they leave the UFC and go box, like the Diaz brother just did.
Yeah, I wish Anderson Silva would have woke up and did that before Conor McGregor, because he blew an opportunity to fight Roy Jones back in the day. And I think that would have made good money for both of them guys. It ain't about who wins, it's about the money. You know what I'm saying? The matchup.
Goes back to the UFC. He blocked him from making that fight.
Well, here's the thing. They blocked Conor, right? But what Conor did is he applied for the boxing license. And all of a sudden they came to their senses, because once he went for the boxer's license, they have no control over him. So once they saw what he was doing, they got on board with the promotion.
They kind of saw that they could tap into the money that he was going to make.
Yeah, they blocked him too. And so, because he was, if my memory serves me correctly, he needed Dana White permission. And when Dana White wouldn't do it, then he applied for the boxing license. And when word got out that he was approved for his boxing license, now all of a sudden they on board, because they know that he was rumored to make $50 million. Either you getting a cut of this or you're not. And with them on board, it makes the promotion 12 times better. You know what I'm saying? The UFC already knows how to promote him versus Mayweather Promotions, who never worked with him before, you know? So I wish Anderson Silva back in the days, I wish he would have, thought outside the box and did that. And that would have been a nice little matchup between Roy Jones and Anderson Silva. You talk about two undefeated guys, fighting, although Anderson wasn't undefeated, but still.
I mean, wait a minute. What was this? At what time point was this?
Before he got knocked out. So Roy Jones used to go to UFC fights, and Anderson Silva started off boxing before he switched over to MMA. And he threw it out there that he was interested in boxing Roy Jones. And Roy Jones came to one of them UFC fights, like, let's do it. But Dana wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think he should have run around and put that together. And, they could have got them a nice little check.
Was this before he went up to heavyweight?
Yeah, this was before.
So we talking 2000, 2001?
Yeah,
you talking about Anderson Silva versus Roy Jones?
Mm-hmm.
No, this was like maybe 14, maybe 15, something like that.
Nah,
it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, Roy Jones hadn't been knocked out.
Roy Jones.
So that was like 2003, right?
Yeah, he hadn't been knocked out.
So Anderson Silva, he wasn't even no big deal back then, was he?
Yeah, that's too long ago.
I didn't think Anderson Silva came like to the mid 2000s when he like really made his name.
Maybe he had then.
Yeah, I think Roy had already took some L's.
2014. There's a story UFC won't let Silva fight Roy Jones in 2014.
But I think that's the last time that they tried. That's not the first time.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I had to add, because I don't remember them.
When did Tarver beat Roy Jones?
2004.
Are you saying Anderson Silva came after that, like 2000?
Well, I'm just saying, like I don't recall him being like that big of a deal at that time. I could be wrong on that timeline.
No, it's more 14, 15.
Huh?
No, like the Roy Jones Anderson Silva talk was like 2013, 14, 15.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That ain't no big fight then.
Anderson was still hot. He was still hot back then.
Yeah, but okay, maybe I just got it mixed up then.
Yeah, because you know who Rory's going. Well, Rory's going to try to fight Tyson. Remember, once he beat Ruiz, there was a little talk about, huh?
Tyson wasn't going for that.
No. He would have whooped Tyson's ass.
We thought he would.
He would have.
Nah, he wouldn't.
I think he would have. Because it wouldn't have been that 199 down to 160, 175 or whatever he went to fight Tarver. He would have stayed up there at around 200 pounds.
But John Ruiz just wasn't no good heavyweight.
True. But Tyson wasn't. But you already said Tyson wasn't the same.
But see, the one thing Mike Tyson could do is he could punch.
Yeah.
Like Roy don't have the style to beat him. He don't have the style to beat.
I think it would have been, in my mind, it would have been like how James Toney did Evander Holyfield.
Well, you know why he did that, right? When he was in high school, he was 200 pounds. But when he started fighting, he went down in weight. So he didn't have no problem. When he got back up to heavyweight, he had power with him.
Mm-hmm.
He had power with him. He wasn't new to walking around at 200 pounds, but when it came to fighting and stuff like that, they just had a meltdown and stuff, But it would been interesting, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I think, kind of thinking of what happened in that little exhibition shit,
That said a lot, though, Rodney. That said a lot to me.
It didn't say it's because you couldn't hit. They weren't supposed to hit each other in the face. So basically, it's just and you just hitting motherfuckers in the body, and Roy Jones is damaged goods. Once Tarver knocked him out, that nigga's jaw was glass from that point on.
I don't think Roy could take Mike Tyson punch in his prime. That's just me,
Yeah, I think he probably wouldn't want to be in that position to take that motherfucker.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand, at that particular time, Roy Jones was at the top of his game, and Mike Tyson was nowhere near the top of his game.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So that's why I'm saying at those particular where they were in their careers, I think he could have made Mike Tyson quit.
I once thought like that. I don't think like that no more. I once thought like that.
I sure seen him quit a lot of times.
Yeah, me too. But those are bigger dudes, though.
I get it.
Those are bigger dudes.
I mean, Lennox Lewis was, but that Danny Williams cat wasn't that big. What is his name?
Man, shit, no. He was 6'3". Every bit of 260.
Okay.
Shit. Man, shit, he'll make all us quit.
We ain't the question. We ain't the bar. Shit.
Yeah. He'll make all us quit. Let's go ahead and wrap this up, everybody. This is episode 42, Pod Deep on Sports. This is Hughes. That's Jay. That's the Notorious RD. Until next time, like, follow, share where you get your podcast. Pod Deep on Sports signing out.
What the fuck is that? Wrap it up music?
Yeah.